Well,
What happened to our plan, Chris?
I have no idea.
Okay, so welcome back. Or not welcome back, but more like welcome to the third, fourth match of the GPL Winter season. So my name is Wolf, and today I will be casting with Chris.
Right, so it's gonna be the bronze match up between HQ Esports Club and Saigon Jokers. They will be fighting for the third place position. So what they are essentially playing for tonight is gonna be for that 25,000 cash prize. That's a whole lot of money in the bank, and 150 circuit points as well. So this is before what's gonna happen on Saturday itself. That's the finals between Taipei Assassins and Taipei Snipers. And before that, we are going to have these two teams face off against each other, and we have seen them progress through the quarterfinals and the semi-final stages, and I have to say the results were very different and very interesting for both teams because they are in extreme contrast.
I feel that, you know, I kind of expected these few teams to actually enter the top four placings in itself, and
Right.
more often than not, SAJ has been a team that I feel performs rather consistently.
Okay.
In my own opinion, I know some people have a different opinion on SAJ as a team in itself, but
Okay.
SAJ has really, proven their worth over the very over the GPL seasons in itself. They qualified for Worlds after the first GPL, after the season one of GPL of its own, and of course, at the end of the day, they've consistently placed, I think, top four in almost all the seasons in itself, and I think that's something rather commendable, especially this season,
Right.
when you have so many of the Taiwanese teams and like a whole new patch to play on and new roster changes to work with, and I must say, the new SHA lineup, I like how they're kind of working together so far.
Right, and you have to keep in mind that I think consistency is one thing, and the other thing about them is that they have improved quite a fair bit as well. Because in the group stages, they weren't doing really well, and they had to play the tiebreaker with Maneski to actually get the third place position in the quarterfinals matchup. When that was when they faced up against HK, which they defeated, and then they went on to face Taipei Assassins, the first seed of the team as well, where they had a very good 3-2 matchup because everything was really, really close at the point of time when I was casting with Fish. We were talking about it because between both Taipei Assassins and SAJ, they were always, just very close to each other. Like, just everything was just on par. And
Yeah, they definitely were neck and neck in that game, and
Yeah.
we were kind of talking about it earlier as well, that, or at least our opinions of SAJ is that they're kind of like the team that gives a lot of the GPL teams trouble, and
Yeah.
I don't know what they don't really play that differently from the other GPL teams. It's just that their play calling in that sense, they're willing to take turrets in place of, especially when the enemy team's going for either a Baron, or they're willing to trade objectives instead of going for the full-on fights. And when you least expect them to, they actually decide to fight you on, and you're like, what is SAJ trying to do as an opponent team? I don't really know, and you get caught off guard immediately, and then that's when SAJ catches you in their trap and just kind of wins that fight altogether.
It's almost like they had that trap card all laid out all
Yeah.
before that. And we had talked a little bit more about Saigon Jokers. Let's take a look at HQ Esports Club. We always have to remember that they are the champions of the summer season as well. And for the most part, especially for last season, they were the dominating force to come into the GPL as well. But I think this time around, they haven't been finding the groove that they wanted, and given that the sense that they had some minor roster changes as well, and all that little thing just adds up to this position where they are kind of still finding their own play style in that sense, but they're still the very hyper-aggressive team that I still know of. They had a fantastic performance against Singapore Sentinels, but unfortunately against the Taipei Snipers, they didn't do all so well, and they went down in a 3-0 fashion. But in that sense, I still think that they should be able to put up a good fight against Saigon Jokers. And, looking at the play style of both teams, I think both of them are really thirsty for fights.
Yeah, both of them definitely want to win it. If HQ wins this one, it's kind of like the Taiwanese monopoly of the top 3 seeds.
Yeah.
Hopefully, SAJ can sneak a Vietnamese team into the podium in itself. But I just want to kind of talk a little bit more about HQ Esports. We saw in the Snipers game in the semifinals in itself, we had Green Tea kind of... Snipers didn't give Green Tea fresh
Yes.
in general.
Yes.
And we know how good Green Tea is on that champion. and taking his comfort champion away for him seemed to put him on tilt slightly. So I'm kind of soured by that experience because I've been a big AHQ fan. I love the Green Devil bot lane in itself, you know, Green Tea Garnet Devil.
Green Devil.
Yeah, the Green Devil bot lane in itself. And the plays in the mid lane by Mr. Elbis or Westdoor, depending on who gets fielded in tonight, I really like their mid lane playstyle as well. And Nas, aggressive jungler, and on top of that, Pride's just an overall solid top laner. I really like their team. But if SAJ decides to ban out Thresh tonight, and if Green Tea gets put on tilt, the Green Devil bot lane isn't going to kick off too much.
Right, and we have that consideration as well because we are now currently playing on the 3.15 patch. It's in the patch where the Civil nerf has been in effect as well. So we might not see the Civil. It is not a extremely heavy nerf.
I know you personally don't like that at all. I keep telling you, it's not such a big deal.
Okay, maybe it's not a huge nerf, but I think teams definitely will take that into consideration.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, so I mean, HQ Esports Club, if they have the chances to take that silver, I mean, they will definitely do it. But we are still in 3.15, so that might come into play. I'm not saying anything, but it might happen.
I don't know. Green Devil bot lane, Lucian Thresh. Like that's their lane to go for.
Okay, Lucian Thresh.
Give them Lucian Thresh, and it's game over for the bot laner at least. And speaking about the 3.15 patch, there's been some significant changes that I feel that we might want to bring up just before the game starts, because the changes to the trinkets, especially not the warding totem, but mainly the lenses as well as the orbs, and you might want to just run through that a little bit because I find that the vision walls have kind of changed in the 3.15 patch itself.
Right, so we have that reduced cooldown coming in from the sweeping lens as well as the radar lens as well. So all that sweeping effects will be coming in a lot more frequently. So as a result, we have seen in many other various scenes, especially in the Korean scene and even in Battle of the Atlantic as well. Actually primarily in the Korean scene, what they would like to favor more is to have that early pink wards just laid out all over the map to actually maintain the vision control. And like you mentioned, yeah, it's definitely gonna make a very big difference. And hopefully Saigon Jokers as well as HQ Esports Club, they have all figured that out, and then possibly we'll see the Battle of the Wards again.
Yeah, Battle of the Wards as well as the Battle of the Trinkets, because the Oracle lens as well as the Greater lens is now on a 60-second cooldown. So that's like you can clear vision every 60 seconds. And if you have upgraded to an early Oracle lens, that gives you an 8-second Oracle. Effectively, if you have a team member with you, you can clear up 3 wards using every charge of the Oracle lens in itself. And additionally, while we are still on the topic of trinkets, before the game actually goes in there, all the players I can see in the lobby. Mid laner today for AHQ is going to be Westdoor. Westdoor. So speaking of trinkets, before we actually get into the game, like I said, it's going to be the blue trinket that has the change as well, the lens trinket in itself. And I don't know whether teams have kind of adapted to this 3.15 patch. We are in picks and bans at this point of time. So let's play this pick and ban phase out. Let's play the champion select phase out, and let's see how the trinkets and the vision gets played in this game in itself.
Right, I think one of the priority bans coming in from Saigon Jokers might be Dr. Mundo. We haven't seen SAJ actually pick that up very frequently. It might be on the list to be banned out, as we do see the first few bans coming into play here. Lee Sin ban locked into place for Saigon Jokers, and Kale ban coming out for HQ Esports Club. Definitely targeted at Optimus.
That's right. I know you have some things to talk about the Kale, because Kale on the side of SAJ has been a pretty effective champion for them to pick up, especially with the fact that safety kind of plays all up aggressive, and they just want to deny that intervention coming in from Kale.
Right, so we do see the Elise ban coming out as well. So Saigon Joker is definitely targeting Ness in this one. Want to take away all this comfort early game champions away from HQ Esports Club, and I agree with it, because the key component about controlling HQ Esports Club is actually taking away all their early game pressure. And the Jinx ban coming out from HQ Esports Club targeted at Archie in this one, and they are the ones that take away the pressure. Very interesting choice here, and Italy ban coming out from Saigon Jokers as well. So they want to take away that poke potential, which goes to show that what Saigon Jokers definitely want to do is go for the fight.
Yeah. And I don't think that AHQ wants SAJ to counter-pick them with the fresh first pick and hence ban it out, since they are the second pick on this game. So I think it's a good ban coming up from HQ, and SAJ default back to a very classic top laner. It's going to be Renekton for the side of SAJ. Renekton is a champion that has kind of fallen off ever since the preseason patch comes in, because people have been defaulting to Shyvana, to Mundo in the top lane, sometimes the occasional Riven, and it doesn't seem like SAJ wants to transition to those picks yet. Mundo, Shyvana are all open at this point of time, so I do expect AHQ to either pick one of the two up.
Right, and the whole reason why Renekton hasn't been all around all so often is because of the fact of the changes to the meta as well, because you want to pick a top laner that can effectively stick to the AD carry of your opponent's side. And if you're able to go for something like Mundo and Shyvana, where you have tons of mobility as well, you should be able to stick on to the opponent's carry just like a plaster. And if you're able to do that, you are able to control them effectively. And HQ Esports Club going for two powerhouse picks right off the bat, Dr. Mundo and Olaf as well. We have seen HQ Esports Club play that Olaf, and it has worked out pretty well for them, so not too surprising for them. So a lot of health and tankiness being secure on the side of HQ Esports Club, so they will be using those to their effects there.
This is really reminiscent to their quarterfinal match against SGS, where we were kind of talking about the fact that 3.14 just rolled in. SGS had a little bit more, experience playing on that patch in itself, and we were wondering if AHQ would be able to kind of adapt to that patch. And they brought out the Mundo, Olaf, and Sivir in that game, and if they can bring out the same way that they did in that first game against the Singapore Sentinels in the quarterfinals in itself, we would definitely see some really strong picks.
Oh, we are back into the lobby. It might be a...
Yeah, so from the chat here, QT, according to the SAJ members, they said QTVD seed from the in Champion Select itself. So like I was saying before, we kind of got interrupted by that little hiccup there.
Yeah.
What happened was that HQ kind of picked up the Mundo as well as the Olaf pick. Mundo top lane, Olaf in the jungle, and of course Sivir in the bot lane. And that gave them an extreme amount of a powerful front line, and the Sivir ultimate itself allowed that front line to just close the gap and just get on the heels of the carries in itself. So looking at how AHQ kind of played the first few picks out in general, I feel that they might be going for a similar comp. Mundo and Olaf, cleavers and axes, you're not going to get away from that one.
Right, and we did see a small preview of what Saigon Jokers were going to pick up. We are going to see the Wukong in the jungle once again. It does feel like it's going to be that way as Safety hovered over it right away. And, they had played it out against Taipei Assassins in the very first game, and Optimus going to transit back into a comfort pick in that Orianna. He has played total of 4 games in the amount of time where he was playing with Saigon Joker, so not too surprising for him to pick that up. And we might see Westlock pick up Gragas again. It's one of his other comfort picks. Or he might go for something like an assassin, like Fizz. So we will see what is going to come out on his end. But looking at what Saigon Jokers have right now, they do have a very effective AoE crowd control capabilities. You can have Safety jump in with the Cyclone Strike, and then you chain that up together with the Command Shockwave. That's a very potent AoE combination right there. And HQ Esports Club locking in their bottom lane straight away. It's going to be the Leona lock-in for Green Tea here, and then the Sivir pickup, like you mentioned. So it does feel like they are not too affected by the nerf after all.
I don't think they're affected by the nerf. I still like Sivir in this patch. I know she got hit just a little bit, especially on the ultimate, but I kind of feel that what AHQ have here is something of an extreme chase potential. You have Mundo and Olaf with the axes and cleavers, like I mentioned before. Leona able to engage from 900 range using the Zenith Blade and about 1100 range using the Solar Flare in itself. So that's going to give you a very long range initiation, and that speed up coming in from Garnet Devil playing Sivir is going to just allow you to just catch up to any sort of team comp. SAJ at this point of time don't have a lot of kite outside of Orianna with that utility. But if they do pick in this Graves Alistar lane, it just means that SAJ is going to say, I want to fight you, and we'll bring it to you before you bring it to us.
Right, so it's going to be the Graves and Alistar being locked in for Saigon Jokers. So between both HQ Esports Club as well as Saigon Jokers, they have that bottom lane which are actively looking out for fights. So we will be looking out at that. And Westlock going for that Gragas pick. So like you mentioned, HQ Esports Club, they are definitely going for this chase composition. They are not, going for any... The siege is not too strong in this case, But given the sense that they have a lot of tankiness on their end, and they do have the mobility coming in from on the hunt as well, and then you have all this burst damage coming in from Westor and this crowd control lockdown coming in from Green Tea. So they do have all the capabilities to find the fights that they want to, but Saigon Jokers, I would have to say that they have pretty good responses and a lot of options as well, because you know you can have safety go in with their Wukong pick to go in with the Saigon Strike to try to stop everything from happening, and then you do have Junie who's going to be playing the Alistair as well. I have to say that for the most cases when you have Alistair in your team, you do have a very good peel for your AD carry, and Archie will definitely be using that to his own advantage to leverage on that and then try to burst someone down right off the bat to stop all this engages from happening.
Yeah, and you know when you talk about the siege potential for both teams, I don't think SAJ has much of a siege.
Right.
And I feel that AHQ actually had a pretty strong siege potential coming into this game. Olaf with maxing out axes first coming in the early games, going to allow you to go for some easy wave clear. Westor and Gragas has the barrels to come in to just clear the minion waves, and once Gunner Devil hits level 6, his passive from the ultimate is going to affect the ricochet, and that's just going to allow you to chunk towers for a lot of potential. And I need to point out something. HQ Prides on Mundo has taken Teleport as a summoner spell, so a split-pushing Mundo that's able to join the fight at any point of time is definitely going to give AHQ advantages, especially when they go in for the 4v4s or the 4v5 matchups, because taking the lane pressure from Mundo, and then you're going to take that immense lane pressure from Mundo, push down the lane, and if a 4v5 happens, you can use Garnet Devils on the hunt to disengage, Mundo coming for a teleport, and then you immediately re-engage with Leona coming in. So there's going to be a very scary 4v5 pick-off potential coming in from AHQ. But like you said, SAJ has a very, very strong initiation composition coming in. Nimbus Strike allows Wukong to close the gap, goes in with the ultimate, and at the same time, SAJ Junie on Alistar is going to go in for that. You know, he's the cow, he has lots of crowd control potential, and he has the ultimate to just block a lot of damage.
Right, so AHQ Esports Club, they have to be careful not to grab the bull by its horns. And in that sense, I think Saigon Jokers, you know, we were talking a little bit about it pre-game that they might go for some unorthodox strategies, and if they do, I think that they will be able to give AHQ some troubles here. But looking at the team composition now, I have to favor AHQ heavily in this one because their team composition is extremely well-rounded. They do have a significant amount of options here. They could go for the burst damage, and they could go for the chase as well. And that's the thing about the Silver Ultimate. Even though it has been hit with that slight nerf, it's still very good to give you some options in terms of engage or disengage. And not only that, we still have that Leona pick. We always forget about that Leona pick. Very strong initiation tools. You can just lock anyone down right off the bat and then just take that one guy out easily.
Yeah, personally, Leona is one of my favorite champions coming in. You know what I like to see from HQ? Pick up the blue trinket, one of the lenses, upgrade it, use the clairvoyance, and just immediately pick off that person right off the map. Just disappear. We see you, we've scanned you on our radar, and you're dead.
Right, it's almost like a magician trick, would you say? It's like a now you see me, now you don't kind of stuff.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to be on the receiving end of that.
That is one terrible thought to be actually having here, because HQ Esports Club, with all this damage on their own end, SAJ, you know, like we mentioned, they have a lot of options, but they have to play their cards right in this one. And the Renekton pick up in the top lane, I'm not too sure how it would play out against Pride here, but given the fact that QTV has been doing quite well on his own end, and he's kind of like the pillar for Saigon Jokers as well, because even though his team might not be doing extremely well, he would still be doing fairly well on his own. And if he's able to hold his own front up in the top lane, then definitely I would say that he should be able to create this split pushing pressure that Saigon Jokers have been known to do so even back in Season 2.
Now, what I'm going to worry mainly on the side of HQ is the fact that SAJ has a lot of early game burst potential coming in. Their champions deal a lot of damage in the early game in itself. And when you talk about the top lane, QTV against Pride's, the matchup itself against both these players, they are both generally very solid top laners. They don't get pushed out of lane very easily. Both of them are very happy to farm on their own. And if they go for a 2v1 lane swap, I just expect it to be down the towers early, let your top laners farm. That's basically going to be it. So we are into the game at this point of time. Let's just take a recap. This will be a best of 5 with SAJ playing on the blue side for game number 1 and HQ Esports Club playing on the purple side for game number 2.
I also like the fact that Pride has picked up that toxic Dr. Mundo skin. Also, almost make him look like the Hulk there. And
there we go. The
Hulk smash from Pride here.
I don't know. I think Junie would have something to say about smashing hits coming in now.
With their bull pick as well. So Saigon Jokers, they are advancing up to the top lane. Might be going for a level 1 strategy, level 1 cheese strategy, and if it works out for them, then it would be a good advantage. But do remember, we are still in that preseason era where First Blood doesn't mean a good advantage anymore. And so Saigon Jokers will be the ones to just face check this brush. So Prides will be able to throw a cleaver and back off from there. So Saigon Jokers, they will review their positions though. And HQ Esports Club, they're not making the best out of it. But I guess they are slowly starting to move their way into the red side jungle of Saigon Jokers to use some of their wards to their advantage there, just to spot out Saigon Jokers.
Yeah, an early ward in that brush here coming in the mid lane river. And right now we do have SAJ deciding to make a rotation down. Does he see the rotations coming in? So let's just take a look at the vision. A good use of the trinkets coming in. This will spot out the advances coming in from SAJ in itself. I don't think any sort of contention in the jungle is going to happen anytime soon. So here we have SAJ just kind of starting on their jungle in normal route, starting from red, moving up to blue. The same thing could be said for HQ. There we have it, just regular jungle start from bottom to top of the map.
Right, and the thing about Wukong jungle is that we have seen Safety play that once in the GPL, but I think it's quite popular in the Japanese scene as well. So we might see Saigon Jokers pulling off a play from their playbook, and in that sense, HQ Esports Club Ness, his Olaf pick will definitely need to ramp up a lot faster. He needs to be the aggressor in this one. If he can do so pre-level 6, then you will be able to apply a much higher amount of pressure as compared to Safety, because that's when his ultimate will come in, and that is his own power spike.
Yeah, and it just seems that a lot of the Southeast Asian meta in itself is kind of focused along the jungle, especially. So if the jungler ganks actually, whoa, we do have some action coming in. Junie taking a whole bunch of damage. That Sunlight passive from Green Tea actually doing a lot of work there against Junie on Alistar. So what we have here is some early game aggression coming in from Garnet Devil and Green Tea. They have pushed the lane. Silver naturally pushes the lane, and upon hitting level 2, they go all in onto Junie, try to take as much damage, as much health away from him as possible. He does have that heal coming in from the Triumphant Roar, and this is going to heal back up completely.
And the reason why Green Tea was so confident to go in for the engage was the fact that he started with that Doran shield. So we have seen that happen for a lot of competitive teams now. They want to go for that early health and those early regeneration. So with that, all that extra health right from the start, you are able to make more aggressive plays, and that was what exactly happened down at the bottom lane, as we do see now Safety just being a cheeky monkey in the brush, just hiding along the sidelines, wanting to make something happen. But I think Pride's just sensed that, there was something going on there, so he decided to play it safely there.
Yeah, and it's going to be an important pivoting point coming into the lanes, especially in the bot lane in itself, because what we have here is that Junie has the Ancient Coin coming in. That's going to allow him to pick up some of the gold from the minion deaths in the lane itself, whereas HQ Green Tea on Leona decides to pick up that Doran Shield. And if they can't get a kill out of that, that's just going to set Green Tea back a little bit, but I don't think it's going to affect too much. But what Green Tea wants here is to just go in for some form of aggression, and Alistar itself, we're having that knockback as well as the Pulverize, will be able to try to mitigate a lot of the aggression coming in from Leona.
Right, we do see some CS discrepancy coming in for the jungler. Safety now sitting on 13 CS, where Ness is on 20. That's because Safety blew some time in the top lane, and that was not a very fruitful reward for him, so the monkey didn't get his fruits there. So HQ Esports Club now, they had that early game aggression right from the start, but at this point of time, does feel like they are taking a back seat at this point of time, and Westor now taking some harass damage from Safety as well, so we will be forced to play more defensively. And now Ness moves up to the top lane. We might see a potential gank here.
That's right. The Wukong does not get his bananas at all, indeed, if you want to be specific
Oh, well, fair
about the fruit there. So we do have Price coming in, throws out the infected cleaver, gets that slow. He gets hit by the undertow as well, and there we have it. The stun coming in. QTV taken down extremely low. Price just wants to go in for another cleaver, takes a power shot to the face, misses that cleaver, and QTV will be forced to back off out of that gank coming in from Naz in itself.
Right, so HQ Esports Club, they did not get the kill up in the top lane, but at least they managed to force they managed to force QTV away from the lane, and that will give some good amount of free time for Price to farm up here. So that's something that he will need, but QTV will be returning to lane with a Giant Belt already down to his name, so he will be able to somewhat sustain up more, and it does feel like Price would go back to pick up some items of his own accord.
Yeah, he's probably going to pick up a Giant's Belt, maybe some wards as well. I really like this early game pink ward control coming in from HQ. Let's just see where their first two pink wards are going to go and how long they survive, because those pink wards just cost 100 gold and they last forever until the enemy finds it, gets a pick onto it, and there we have it, the first pink ward coming down. Safety, SAJ probably know about that, so the Jokers will try to clear that one out soon enough. So here we have Naz being a little bit cheeky in the jungle, drops his own stealth ward there into that brush. Might be going for a gank onto Optimus in itself. Optimus sniffs that out, eats a undertow to the face, and then Naz will just walk away. So QTV here has been the one that's pressuring this lane quite a bit. So we do have Price not picking up the Giant's Belt, decides to pick up a Chain Vest as well as the Cloth Armor coming in for this match. And SAJ has been putting a lot of lane pressure in the lanes in itself. So both the pink wards for HQ, I like to point out at this point of time, have been sitting in the brush in itself. So we do have QTV easily taking out that ward. So 100 gold kind of gone to waste, didn't really spawn out much, and just gave 30 gold to the automated crowd.
Right, I also want to take a look at the gold difference right now. They are sitting at a close to 100 to 200 gold difference, and all these little differences are generated because of that ancient coin like we were talking about earlier. And you know, with having HQ, you know, just go for that early pink wards that didn't pay off so well, that would set them back a little back more. But in that sense, both teams still very close in this one, and I think all this little gold difference is not going to mean much if HQ finds the amount of good aggression that they want to. But it is at a point where the solo laners have been has just gotten their ultimates in this one, and we might see an engage up soon, especially in the bottom lane once Green Key hits level 6 and has that solar flare in her pockets.
Yeah, so what we have here is quite a passive laning phase at this point of time, and it just seems that, you know, SAJ as well as HQ are happy to kind of farm out their lanes, move in and transition to the mid game in which their team comps become effective. So once you hit that mid game status, especially soon coming into the 10-minute mark, they may decide to rotate and contest for objectives. And at that point of time, this is where I should see the teleport on Price come into effect. If he's able to kind of allow QTV to, or at least push the lane and prevent QTV, I must say, from actually rotating to the bottom half of the map in itself, and make him decide whether he loses a bunch of minions or he goes to help his team and contest for Dragon.
I have to say though, Wolf, I'm a little disappointed at both teams at this point of time, because they both have this reputation of being this aggressive team, and they like to pick their fights really early on, but this time in this game, at least just 9 minutes in, they are rather passive in this one, and I was expecting an all-out brawl right from the start, and you know, they're not giving it to us, man. Come on, fight! I want to see them fight.
I don't know, I like this change. We may see some aggression coming from AHQ. And there we have the undertow does get hit onto QTV. He will be forced to slice away, gets hit by the end travel of the undertow in itself. And it does seem that Optimus has taken that slight CS advantage in the mid lane over Westall. Every other lane so far is pretty even, and it just shows that, you know, Optimus, the star player of the Jokers in itself, doing an extremely good job of farming against Gragas. Although I must admit the early game ability for Gragas to kind of CS in itself isn't the best.
Yeah.
Compared to Oriana.
Right, and you have to take into account that whatever happens, Westall is still a melee champion, so in that sense, he will find a little bit of a struggle against Oriana in the mid lane because he can just, Optimus can just poke him down with auto attacks. So we have hit a stage where Safety has now gotten his own ultimate up. So if he goes for a lane gank here, we might see that it will be locked down to effect. And there we go now, Junie knocking Green Tea back into the fight here.
Yeah, that's right. There we have the ultimates coming down. Green Tea will go down for the first blood there. The CC combo coming in. Safety did burn the flash to get the knockup onto his Cyclone there. So, simple kill from the side of Jokers, going into the Pulverize and then the knockback. And we do see some action coming in from Optimus here in the mid lane as well, getting kind of poked down by Westor. In that sense, we do have Naz being a little bit cheeky, trying to steal away. The Raze does get 2 of them, and then the Smite will come out from Safety to say, nope, the big Wraith is mine.
Right, so the silence have been broken in this one. So Saigon Jokers having the first say and the first kill in this game. So that will propel the goal difference to a close 400. So not so much even at this point of time, and hopefully we will start to see even more ganks happening, especially for Saigon Jokers here. But like you mentioned, the Cyclone is now on cooldown, and looking at the speed of the cooldown is not too long as well, so he could go for another gank relatively soon. And QTV, I have to say, 2 gank attempts up in the top lane, and it has not gone down at all, and holding his ground relatively well against this Mundo pick here. But Prides with the teleport, definitely he will make the bigger global pressure here.
Yeah, Renekton, no matter how much we say, or at least in general we feel that Renekton kind of falls off in the top lane, you have to admit, Renekton doesn't really have any bad matchup in the top lane.
Right, fair enough.
So we do have some of the items getting picked up already by both the junglers and mid laners as well as support. I like to point out what Junie decides to pick up as an early game item. Picks up the Mikhail's Crucible, and on the side of HQ, Green Tea decides to focus a little bit more on the vision control by picking up the Sidewall in itself.
Right, the early Mikhail's Crucible is just purely attributed to the fact that Green Tea could pull out some amazing engages with the Solar Flare initiation. So if he can, cleanse that out very early on, right from the start, then that initiation would be just put to a stop there. And that vision control once more, like you mentioned, would be important as we do have a brawl down in the jungle.
Yeah, there we have it. The ultimates being used by both Optimus as well as Safety. The Shockwave and the Cyclone will easily take Naz down. I feel Naz might be a little bit overzealous going into the jungle there. The second pick ward by the HQ Esports Club has been taken out. They have no more pink wards on the map at this point of time. I'm really going to be focusing on the pink ward. The teleport comes in from Mundo. He comes in from the base. Westor gets zoned out. He takes a bunch of damage from the combination of Safety as well as Optimus. And now a fight coming in. Archie taken down extremely low. He flashes over the wall, and will he be able to get away from this one? We do have Green Tea coming in from the side. He will be getting in the stun and the auto attack as well as the proc from the flare will finish him off.
So 1 kill down for HQ Club, and I don't know, man, it was a little bit of a dubious decision from Archie. I mean, he backed off from that fight there, but just standing in that tri-brush there to try to teleport back was definitely a very big risk to take. But meanwhile, with all this action down at the Dragon Pit, QTV takes up the top lane as HQ Esports Club makes work on Dragon now.
Yeah, I think SAJ would just have to give up this Dragon to HQ. They do not have their big AoE ultimates up at this point of time. Pride standing in the sidelines trying to zone out as much of the Jokers as possible. He's Mundo, he's tanky, he has his ultimate, and you're not going to push him away from that Dragon.
Right, so in exchange it was a turret for a Dragon, and even though with that Dragon changes, your early game Dragon might not give you as much gold, but looking at the gold difference now, it's still sitting at a close 500 gold. So I would have to say both teams are still tit for tat in this one.
Yeah, so what we have here is that SAJ picks up a turret and HQ Esports Club decides to go for the Dragon trade. And not only that, with the lanes being played out the way they are, most of the mid-game items have been picked up, and it does seem that SAJ has opened up the map for themselves, and the AoE combo actually coming in from Safety as well as Optimus on Wukong and Oriana is something that you need to really look out for. We saw how being overzealous can kind of cause your demise, and Naz there, a perfect example of what happens when you say, I feel that I can handle this big AoE, big burst combination coming from Safety and Optimus, but think again.
Right, and we did see Safety and Optimus giving Westlaw a hell lot of hard time in the mid lane as well. With a simple skill rotation from Safety, that took him down to about half health as well. So that's something that they do have to consider, because Safety now 2 kills to his name, and having that Elder Lizard being completed on his own end. So usually when we look at junglers, you want to go for something tankier or something of a utility in that sense, but he is going for straight up damage here, and Safety now hiding in the brush, but there is that ward there from HQ Esports Club to spot him out straight away. But the pink ward will drop, and they will take away the vision from there. And now Ness getting jumped out by QTV there. It does feel like he will back off from there.
Yeah, so what we have here is a rather passive game coming in from both teams. The only times they decide to fight is either when the jungler is there or when they have an objective to contest for. A little cheeky lane rotation coming from the Jokers in itself. We do see QTV being tasked to farm, and SAJ Optimus going into the top lane instead. So a little bit of a small lane swap. We did have Pride kind of freezing the lane earlier at the top, and with Optimus coming in to the top lane now, I do expect him to just clear this minion wave very easily and just continue to go for the command attack into dissonance combination and just clear that wave and put some wave pressure in itself, put some lane pressure in itself.
But it looks like that is the story of the game here. So HQ Esports Club not finding the full-on aggression that we expected them to, but they're not doing too bad of their own as well. They have kind of balanced up the goal difference. So they are right back into square one, with both of them just having the same amount of goal now, and I just feel like the next big mistake or the next big team fight decision will eventually determine what happens in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like what's going on so far in this game. Both teams are playing quite measured, and to give away the first game of a best of 5 could be quite detrimental to the momentum as well as the morale of the team. So keeping the game quite even at this point of time and only picking fights when you feel like you can win them is definitely a winning formula coming in. It would play safe, you win the games, yes, but of course, like you said, it's quite uncharacteristic of these two teams.
But we have to remember that they are still playing for that 25,000 cash prize here, so any small form of mistake here could result in a quick escalation of things here. So like you said, you know, it's exactly right, because they want to play it safe here. They don't want to risk anything too crazy to try to pick up the victory. So slow and methodical victory might be the way that both teams are looking at this point of time.
Yeah, but what's interesting is that SAJ team, the Jokers, I mean, the Saigon Jokers team comp at this point of time kind of biting them in the butt, because what we have here is very good wave clear from the side of HQ Esports, especially in the mid lane and the bot lane in itself. Garnet Devil and Westdog can easily clear out the lanes, and at this point of time, SAJ doesn't seem to have an answer to this siege coming in, or the anti-siege coming from AHQ. We always see the lanes of SAJ, especially in the bot lane, being pushed up, just because Archie has good wave clear as well. But at the same time, Garnet Devil will just clear out the wave, and then the minion wave will reset back to the mid lane again, and there we have Archie clearing out this wave very easily as well, with just auto attacks, or even put in a buckshot into the smoke screen in itself. So it's just been a war of lanes and just farming up as much as possible at this point of time. They go in, get that ward down, they want to make sure that they clear this pink ward, or at least HQ wants to clear the vision in that brush, because we did see Nas camping along the sidelines going in for the gank there. So quite monotonous play at this point of time. SAJ really needs to make something happen if they want to win this, because if you have Mundo and Olaf, or at least the whole team comp of HQ, just farm up to the late game, their late game is definitely more superior than what SAJ has at this point of time.
Right, and that's the consideration that we have to look at as well. And now we do see Junie getting called out right here.
Yeah, that's right. Junie has to pop his ultimate. Garnet Devil will be able to get that passive going. He now pops the ultimate. Greasy goes into the solar flash. Junie is forced to flash out of that one. So both both the bot lane of AHQ will be forced to waste their ult on to try to kill this cow in the bot lane in itself.
Looks like they were hungry for some beef there. They wanted to take it out there.
And then we have the headbutt pulverize combination coming from Garnet Devil. Garnet Devil pops his spell shield, but to no avail, gets the knockout from the Cyclone. A great flank coming in from safety, and SAJ lying in the lurks to pick up that kill in the bot lane in itself. Garnet Devil still had the flash and barrier up, knew he was going to go down to that one, and just decided to, you know, say, I'm dead.
Right, they traded 1 kill for a turret, so not too bad for HQ Esports Club, but the next thing contest here will be the Dragon. Does feel like Saigon Jokers want to be the one to take this one out, but Westo is just right around the corner.
Yeah, that's right, a great burst coming in from safety to pick up that Dragon with the smite. Here we have Naz actually trying to get zoned out. Junie here is trying to zone out Naz, and there we have the entire team of AHQ just backing off from that one. They may be a little bit greedy if they want to pick up this blue buff. QTV has his dominance pop, now it has run out. It does seem that SAJ will be content picking up that kill in the bot lane and transitioning it into a Dragon.
Right, and you have to keep in mind as well that Saigon Jokers picked up the second Dragon, so definitely the more valuable Dragon in that perspective, and they pick up that 1 kill down in the bottom lane as well, so that will we start to see the goal income start to widen up now. It's 1k difference between both teams, and Saigon Jokers, they definitely have the advantage in this one, and I have to commend the counter gang down in the bottom lane. At first, I thought it was a very good opportunity for HQ Esports Club to go in once Archie backed off from there, but very quick reaction from Saigon Jokers to just wipe them off the map after that.
Yeah, that's right, and having that, like you said, 1000 gold advantage will allow them to get their items earlier, their mid-game items earlier, giving you that power spike, and once you actually hit the item threshold, that is the time where SAJ wants to fight. They have a timer on this team comp before HQ, Pride as well as Naz becomes way too tanky for them to deal with, and that time is when they get their tier 2 items. Static Shift is going to get completed onto Archie soon, and I do expect a death cap to come out of Optimus. The moment those 2 items come up, they need to fight.
Right, not only that, we do see Optimus now switching over to that swimming lance like we mentioned earlier. That will make big impact as we do see a fight up in the top lane.
Yeah, that's right. Safety pops his Cyclone, and now Price will just use his ultimate to just kind of say, hey, I'm Mundo. You're not going to deal much damage to me. Safety, you don't have much mana. I don't know why you're here up in the top lane, but, well, that's not going to do much.
Right, Mundo goes as he pleases, or how it goes as he pleases. It's hard to stop a green Ethan there,
Yeah, that's right. We do have a flank coming in from both Westdell as well as Naz. The Solar Flare will slow but not stun anybody. Optimus gets caught out. The explosive cast is being used now. Garnet Devil taken down extremely low. He manages to survive that using the barrier as well as the flash. And it does seem that Junie is in a bunch of trouble now. Actually gets that knockback and manages to land the stun onto Optimus. Green Tea there onto the side, but now Safety joins into the fight, and whoa, an easy command attack as well as Dissonance just melts Green Tea, and Garnet Devil very surprisingly managed to survive in that fight, and in that entire team fight, QTV was just pushing up the top lane.
Right, so it was a 1-for-1, was it a 1-for-1?
No, it was a 2-for-1
exchange, and at first I thought that Junie was trying to be a spoil sport, that he actually knocked Green Tea right back into Optimus, and for a moment I was fearing for Optimus' life there. Before that, we do see this brawl up in the top lane, and Price is just sticking onto QTV as we have talked about it before.
Yeah, QTV forced to pop the dominance here, so I really don't know if QTV can survive this one. Naz is actually on the sidelines. He wants to trap Price under the turret there. That's forced to flash. Wow. Price decides to go in with the flash as well. The Ignite is ticking away, but it does seem that Price will be able to survive that one. I feel that the Ignite came a little bit too late because Price already popped his sadism, and that's not going to counteract any of the healing at all.
Right, for the longest of time, I thought that QTV should be able to get off this one, but Price just knowing when to land those cleavers back to back, and QTV just went down as the sad alligator, so I guess HQ will have some alligator for dinner tonight.
Yeah, the teleport comes out, Junie getting caught out, Garnet Devil there popping the on the hunt, and now Safety onto the sidelines. He does have his Cyclone. Will they continue to fight this one? That Boomerang Blade coming out, Optimus joining onto the sidelines, and at the same time we do have Westdell coming in from the flank as well. This might be an all-out team fight under this bot lane turret here. This bot lane turret has been taken down to less than half HP. Let's see if HQ decides to go in for this one. They have very good wave clear, very strong siege, but at the same time, the counter-initiate potential from Junie as well as Safety is something that they need to look out for. If a fight does break out, it is going to be a 5v5 fight. Both teams have their 5 members here in the bot lane. It's going to be very exciting. Dragon will be up in another 1 minute, so a win here might give you a bunch of kills, the bot lane turret, as well as the Dragon.
Right, it does feel like the Fight Club is going to begin here. We'll be looking for the first signs of initiation here, but like you mentioned, AHQ Esports Club just clearing out the minimum waves very, very effectively. If SAJ wants to fight, they have to go now.
Well, I don't know about that because no minion waves at this point of time, and SAJ would much rather let AHQ come into this lane in itself. They are losing a bunch of minions here in the top lane, so AHQ, I don't know who is the one that's happy to stall it out. Pride is extremely tanky. Everyone has their ultimates up at this point of time, and let's just see, whoa, Junie's taken a chunk out of his health here, but sorry, Archie taking a chunk out of his health here, but Junie is able to use that Triumphant Roar to heal it up.
Right, and Dragon is now coming back into play in half a minute's time, and that might be the signal for AHQ Esports Club to make the first move here.
This is going to be very interesting because I did expect SAJ to be the one to get the items first, but instead, look at who completed his death cap first. It is Westdoor. So Westdoor here having that upper hand in the battle of the mid laners. QTV goes in with the slice and dice and decides to dice out of there because he didn't have a good initiate onto Pride in itself, and it does seem that the dance would shift from the bot lane turret to Dragon Pit at this point of time. Whoa, Junie taken down almost to half HP there from that combination of, you know, spells coming in from the AHQ team. So right here we have AHQ just kind of splitting into two groups at this point of time. It doesn't seem like they want to fight this one out just yet.
Right, what we saw is effectively a 1.5 minute siege up at the first turret. We generally see that for the inhibitor turret, but we saw that for the first turret. That just means that how much Saigon Jokers they value that first turret down in the bottom lane, so they managed to protect it. But now HQ Esports Club, they do have that vision advantage to start off the Dragon.
Yeah, that's right. A flank will be coming in from the side, but they do manage to pick up Dragon. Junie taking a very low force to pop his ultimate there. A stun, a great start onto SAJ. Archie, and a fantastic ultimate coming in from Optimus here. Garnet Devil taken out extremely low. Now Naz is that next target. A flash coming out from Optimus. Optimus will go in with the command attack. Gets a double kill. Now Pride will be wailing onto Optimus. Westdoor will be knocked away from that one. The command protect. And now it's Pride against Optimus. I don't think Optimus will be able to get out of this one. And that's just overkill right there. Green Sea being taken out there by both Safety as well as Junie. QTV still completely untouched. Westdoor as well picks up the double buff in that fight. So buff transfers complete. And that fight is traded 2-3 in favor of Saigon Jokers. But don't forget, HQ did manage to pick up the third dragon and their second dragon of the game.
Right, so they did pick up that dragon in their whole process as well. So even though Saigon Jokers, they are ahead of kills by 3 kills at this point of time, they are still pretty much looking at a very small goal difference here. And Optimus having that double kill for himself will be able to finish up that death cap already. So he might be going for the Void Staff next as we are looking at his items at this point of time. So very close game between these two teams at this point. I have to say, we are coming close to the 30-minute mark where we'll start to see the huge power spike coming in from both teams. And you know, we had a preview of what was the chaotic team fight that could go down in the process here, and that resulted in a 3-2 trade. And I guess the next team to find the advantage over the other will be able to find the opening for them to take the next major objective.
I don't know. Chaotic is one word to describe the team fight. The other word I would use is very sloppy team fight from both teams. I mean, HQ has a team comp that just goes in, sticks onto one target, and just completely wails on that target. The burst damage coming out from Westdoor, Green Tea, and Garnet Devil is superior. The chase potential from Price and Naz is very good as well. And we saw HQ kind of get split up in that team fight, and it kind of caused the demise of some of their members, especially Garnet Devil was zoned away immediately at the start of the fight. We saw that he was positioning not extreme, not the best this game, I must say. And on the side of SAJ, they didn't really fight their team fight too well as well. At all, actually. Archie we saw get completely bursted down from the Solar Flare and Zenith Blade initiation combo. And it's surprising that SAJ still managed to come out and fight the better. And we do have a team dive here coming in from QTV. coming onto QTV. He is forced to pop his dominance. The Cyclone does come out onto safety. Pride just tanking that turret. QTV is taken out extremely low, manages to flash away from that one. Will the next undertow hit? And it doesn't seem like that's the case. Naz being a little bit overzealous. And there we have SAJ Optimus using the command Shockwave to protect his Crocodile as well as his Monkey.
Right, not only that, we have to look at the fact that QTV just dodged the undertow by the, just that little bit more could have taken away his life there, but good awareness coming in from QTV there. But in the meantime, Garnet Devil and Green Tea saw the opportunity, so they will take out the mid lane turret for themselves. So opening one more opportunity there. So that will be 2 mid lane turrets down for them. And I guess that is the most important way to kind of secure their vision advantage here, so they can try to stick into the jungle of SAJ to plant down more wards to try to find the pickoff that they desperately need at this point of time.
I don't know, it's going to be very scary because the only 2 turrets that are down on the side of SAJ in itself are the 2 mid lane turrets. So the jungle isn't as open as it might be if the outer turrets are down at this point of time for the side of Saigon Jokers, but I think the next point of contention, at least for the side of the Jokers, is definitely going to be the mid lane turret in itself. So look at Garnet Devil just going ham, completely ham on all the turrets. We just saw him take out that bot outer turret as well. The pushing power coming from Sivir is pretty insane.
Right, that was the good thing about having that Sivir, but so not only for the, but also for the fact that you have a very strong pushing position over Grades here. It does feel like Saigon Jokers, they have been playing the game really well for themselves, but they have to be wary of what HQ Esports Club still has the potential to do here.
Yeah, so what we have here is a game that's coming in 30 minutes in. Gold score is completely even at my count. Yes, Saigon Jokers have just, what, 500 gold advantage in their hands? And the items, just look at the items. It is so extremely even at this point of time. Safety may not be as tanky as Dr. Mundo, and what's your answer at this point of time? Sloppy team fights coming in, but it does seem that HQ got the better of that one. Junie just completely melts, and a great flash solar flare comes in. The Cyclone comes in for that fight, and it's just completely messy. The Dominus gets popped, safety taken out extremely low. A great shockwave gets hits 3 people, but it doesn't seem that SAJ will be able to get out of this one. Optimus is just barely alive, eats a cleaver to the face. One more auto attack. Whoa, maybe not another auto attack will get that one. Pride still wants to go in for the kill, but that last cleaver will be able to pick up that one. Westar did go down to both the combination of QTV as well as Archie. Pride will be forced to suicide under the turret in itself. So amazingly, SAJ was on the back foot for that one, but yet they still managed to come out ahead in that team fight. They traded that team fight 4 for 3.
Right, I have to give credits to Optimus there. That Shockwave just turned everything around for them, and you have to give credit to safety as well. And the thing about Junie was that, oh wow, we might see a sneaky Baron attempt here. And between both QTV and Archie, it will take some time, but they have the capabilities to do that. And it does feel like it's on the duties of Garnet Devil to try to spot that out for themselves. Maybe actually be able to do this.
I don't know, teleport is up on Pride. He has 14 seconds to respawn. The Baron at this point of time is about 4,000 HP. Safety will be making his way down here. Now the smite is up, and it does seem that SAJ will be able to pick up the Baron off that team fight. And yes, blue team has slain Baron Nashor, and the teleport comes in, immediately gets cancelled out by Pride in itself, and he knows that at this point of time, the play calling from SAJ is pretty phenomenal, knowing that they had the time. Very risky play though, but risky play, big risk, big rewards.
Yeah, and that was the unorthodox style that we were talking about Saigon Jokers. Most teams, they don't want to take the risk there, but for them, they just went in with that sort of like a YOLO-ish style gameplay there, and we will see a replay of exactly what went down. And this was what happened in the last team fight. Junie was caught just way out of position there, so he will go down just right off the bat. And now safety will be the next target of choice. The solar flare lands only on QTV, and Optimus was able to buy some space for himself. Archie is now in the fray here with the Cyclone being popped onto safety there, so that would knock AHQ off their feet for a while there, but eventually he would still go down in the process. And there we go, the game-changing, the engage-changing shockwave right there will be able to, you know, stop Westlaw Gunner Devil as well as Price that gave it Archie so much space to output some damage over there. So QTV will have that double kill over there, and eventually we do see members going down in the
That's right. It's the peel coming in from that team fight we saw earlier was pretty amazing coming in from SAJ. At this point of time, they're now sieging the mid lane outer turret. They have managed to take that away. They now extend their goal lead to about 2,000 gold. They have the Baron buff, and this Baron buff will be put to good use. So at that point of time, we were kind of commenting, or at least I was kind of commenting on how the game was rather even. The items are pretty much even at this point of time, and they are still even, don't get me wrong. But having the Baron buff on the Jokers at this point of time will give them that extra advantage that they need, that extra advantage that they need to just close out team fights cleanly and continue to take objectives. Because we saw in the 4v5 fight there earlier that resulted in the Baron pickup, as well as that mid lane outer turret pickup, Optimus and Archie just kited away from any sort of damage at all. The turnaround shockwave came in, QTV re-entered the fight with Archie and the backlines dealing as much damage as possible.
You know who's accountable for all this little gap that HQ is having over SAJ at this point in time? It's going to be Westlaw. Look at his CS and you compare that to Optimus. A 60 CS difference for both Westlaw and Optimus. So even though at this point of time Optimus does have that one kill advantage over Westlaw, I would still have to say that he is the one making the main difference in this HQ lineup now.
Yeah, that's right. And something I like to point out when you talk about items, which I just noticed, Westlaw has picked up a Liandry's Torment. That, yes, that does give him that added magic penetration coming in, because maybe they feel that QTB is getting a little bit too tanky, but why would you want to go for the Zhonya's first? That gives you an additional spell rotation coming in. It allows you to get away with Flash or Body Slam immediately after the stasis has been resolved, and just gives you extra survivability in general.
I think he values that burn damage a lot more, because you want to burn through the resources that and as well as Junie have at this point in time. Even Junie is getting quite tanky in his own respect, but he has opted for different items. You can see the item difference coming in from Green Tea as well as Junie. We do have Junie with the Talisman of Ascension. You compare that to Green Tea, he has gone for the Warden's Mill, so effectively going for the early renderings, and QTV jumping right into the fray here. He will decide to back off from there. It was a very risky and dangerous moment for him there.
That's the definition of overzealous at this point of time, but at this, we know that SAJ has the numbers advantage coming into that fight, so maybe it was the right call, but we didn't have many of them to kind of follow up in this fight at all. So we do have SAJ just kind of sieging down onto this mid or this bot inhibitor turret, and I'd like to point out something. Teams in the 3.15 patch would definitely want to focus this bot inhibitor turret just because of the changes to the super minions in the 3.15 patch. In the 3.14 patch, super minions gave a buff to the lane minions, 40% damage as well as 40% extra armor, but I don't have time to talk about that because an initiation comes in from SAJ in itself. Junie pops his, oh, the solar flare comes in, Green Tea pops a fantastic solar flare. Naz in the back lines actually managed to zone out both Optimus as well as Archie. A great shot with once more coming in from Optimus. The collateral damage comes out from Archie and it forces SAJ to actually kind of back off from that one. Pride still in the back line. Safety has already gone down. QTV is such a tanky crocodile at this point of time. Naz and Westlaw taken out extremely low. They still feel that they have the power to kind of siege this turret down. Westlaw has the home guard boost. The initiation comes in, gets the sound to Archie. Green Tea will go down from that one. That dash coming in from Archie will save his life as well as completely put Green Tea out of position.
Right, the game plan for HQ Esports Club was to use the teleport to the advantage there. We did see Pride come in from the backline to try to go for that pincer formation, but we did see a 2-for-1 trade at the end of the day as we go into a replay to see what happens at the bottom lane. So SAJ, they wanted to go in for the initiation, so Julie started things off with the Pulverize, and now we do see Green Tea, he will be popping that Solar Flare onto Saigon Jokers there. Pride's now with the teleport, so the Solar Flare goes down, locks QTV and Junie into place, and Safety is forced to back off from there. And Pride's now getting zoned way out by QTV. That safety will go down to Westall in the process. That burst damage doing a whole lot of work, and the shockwave as well, just turning things around once again for Saigon.
Yeah, that's right. That shockwave Optimus has landed so many 3-man shockwaves. HQ has got to be scared. I mean, Optimus has been performing so well. The moment the shockwave comes out, we know SAJ is willing to turn for that fight. And you really have to kind of count your blessings, or at least both teams have to kind of count their blessings at this point of time, because if any of the team just gave up a significant advantage at that point, SAJ would have been able to take an inhibitor from that one, as well as probably a Baron if the fight happened now. And on the same note, if HQ was able to get the better of SAJ in that fight in itself, HQ would have been able to pick up that Baron instead. And look at that, we actually have Junie as well as Pride just doing it out. The undertow will not hit, and neither will the cleaver, so it does seem that Junie will be able to get away from that one. And HQ just asserting their dominance with the cleaver axe combination to try to catch up onto the cow. But great reflexes coming from Junie, just dodging it out as much as possible.
Just feel like Junie, he has some experience dealing with the axes and the cleavers. Doesn't want to be turned into someone's dinner here tonight.
No,
yeah,
not at all.
So the Baron and Dragon are now both live, and that will be the contest for both teams right here. And given the changes to the there we go, Dragon will go down immediately in that one. So Saigon Jokers will take some good amount of gold for themselves, and with the changes to Dragon as well, the gold count for Baron and Dragon, especially this late into the game, should be somewhat even into this one. So with that one Dragon pickup for themselves, Saigon Jokers now propel their gold lead to 4,000, and that will be somewhat of the lead that they need to somewhat close out the game.
That's right, a Black Cleaver being picked up by Renekton at this point in time. And look at the Oracle lenses. 3 Oracle lenses, or 1 Oracle lens being picked up by Junie, and the greater lens as well by Safety. So what we have here is that vision dominance that SAJ wants to get. They know that they're ahead at this point of time. They know that they can win the team fight. So if they're able to catch HQ in a bad position due to the denied vision from the lenses, they would definitely come out even stronger in the team fights in itself.
Right, we might see the Baron dance start off very soon, but we have to take into account that there's a huge minion wave pushing down and knocking on the doors of HQ Esports Club right at the bottom lane, so they might have to try to answer to that. But fortunately for them, the inhibitor is still up, but the turret might just go down the process.
Yeah, and this is a cannon minion wave. This will definitely chunk this turret down quite a bit at this point of time. But of course, the contention at this point of time, 41 minutes into the game, will be the second Baron. The Cleaver does actually start off the Baron in itself, and AHQ will be coming in. QTV goes in, tries to zone out 4 members of the team, whereas the rest of the team is trying to take down Baron. This Baron is down to extremely low at this point of time. QTV pops his dominance passive. Nash trying to come in from the side, gets taken down extremely low. QTV has the command protect, survives the onslaught from Nash. Safety goes in, pops the Randuin's Omen, uses that clone to get out of there immediately. Junie gets a 4-man pulverized, and there we go, the 3-man shockwave coming out. QTV joins from the side. Garnet Devil just melts. He has still alive at this point of time, and they will be able to pick up QTV in the backlines. And in that same note, SAJ is able to pick up Prides as well. They trade 2 for 2, jungler and top laner for jungler and support.
Right, I have to give commands to Saigon Jokers once again, that shockwave catching everyone off guard for HQ Esports Club. We saw that Saigon Jokers wanted to capitalize on the fact that Westall was not with them, but with that quick reaction that Westall did, so he managed to just join right back into the fight. And even though it was at a position that put SAJ in a very peculiar position, they managed to turn the tides for themselves, and that resulted in a 2 for 2 trade, and Baron did not go down in the process. And does feel like Saigon Jokers want to start work on Baron once again, and it's at a very good timing where HQ is just nowhere close to the Baron pit here.
This Baron priority coming from SAJ is very reminiscent of the KT teams from OGN.
Yep.
KT Bullets as well as KTA, they really like to play around in the Baron pit itself, and maybe SAJ has picked up a thing or two from these teams, watching their games and trying to pull off some Baron plays coming in. We saw that SAJ immediately start on the Baron, and what we have was QTV as well as Junie on the sidelines in their very first Baron attempt to try to zone HQ out completely and peel. immediately. And the moment HQ went in, we saw SAJ completely peel off Baron and fight the team fight. And then they just managed to trade 2 for 2. They went back, cleared the minion wave, and they saw that HQ was in the bot lane, the furthest lane away from Baron, and they made a beeline immediately towards Baron. And having Archie with a Last Whisper static shift, Bloodthirster as well as Infinity Edge, that Baron's just going to go down really quickly.
Right, it's almost like the reverse mentality for Saigon Jokers in that one, because for the longest time now, especially in the Garena Premier League, what most teams would do after a team fight down at the Baron pit was that they would try to back up and regroup themselves. But instead, SAJ called for a very decisive call that they decided to just make a beeline, like we mentioned, into the Baron pit, and they managed to take it down for themselves. So they do have that Baron buff in their belt on the time. So if they choose to go for that team fight now, they still have that advantage in their end, but they are playing this really cautiously because Price is just down at the top lane, so he can still move in with the teleport to rejoin the team as he wishes.
Yeah, pincer maneuver might be coming out from SAJ though. Price sniffing that one out, will be blue pilling back immediately after taking down that top lane in the turret in itself. Safety here might be the one to pick up this blue buff. No, it does seem that Optimus will be coming in from the side to pick up that blue buff. Gonna eat his, I don't know, up-teen blue buff of this game and just continue to pull off that very, very clutch shockwaves coming in.
Well, I have to say he deserves the blue buff. So for the most part, he has been pulling off miraculous shockwaves, what do you call it?
Yeah, I would call it miraculous shockwaves. The question is now, does SAJ deserve to win this game?
Ah, okay. That's a very strong statement in this one, but
They've taken 2 Barons already. I feel that they do deserve to win this game, and they've shown how well they kind of control the team fights at this point of time. Yes, the team fights kind of start off a little bit sloppy. It's so messy in all the team fights. I would really love to watch this game to kind of figure out what both teams have been planning. Ghana Devil has been caught extremely out of position many a times that in the team fights in itself. He managed to just barely survive that one, and QTV has been on point. He goes in, not only zones 3 or 4 people, but he puts on the damage to the carry that he's able to get to. And even in the late game, this is something really astonishing because the only resistances that he has at this point of time is coming from the Sunspire's Cape as well as the Spirit Visage, and the additional help coming from Dominus ultimate in itself, and he's able to go with the auto attack, get the auto attack reset on the Ravenous Hydra and just destroy and just instantly burst down someone. You may not be able to take him down from 100 to 0, but if you're able to zone out the carry from the team fight itself, it's going to be very scary.
Right, and that's the damage that we're talking about. So putting on some hurt onto Westlaw there, but the Landry's Torment doing his its own fair share of credit there to take down the chunky and the very tanky QCD over there. And something that we haven't really pointed out is also for the fact that Saigon Jokers have a lot of sweeping lances, or rather greater lances on their own end as well, so they will be able to control out the vision wall over here, and that's what has been building the advantage over there. Now we do see Pride down at the top lane, knocking on the doors of Saigon Jokers. Will they choose to respond to this one, or will they choose to go for the fight?
Yeah, it does seem that they want to recall though, but great reactions coming from AHQ, preventing them from any sort of quick recall into the base. SAJ may be baiting something out here because we do have them just decide to sit down on the flank, and right now Naz is in a pretty precarious position at this point of time. And here we have Price just thinking of whether he should recall and join the fight or continue the push, but SAJ here will be going a safety, just goes in the Nimbus Strike as well as that hit there, and the explosive cast tries to knock someone back. Junie is the one that goes in now. Naz onto the sidelines. Archie getting hit by the solar flare, but no one can follow up. Green Tea is forced to flash away from that one. QTV just wrecking complete phase. The Ignite should be able to take him down. Shockwave comes in. A great Zhonya's coming out from Westlaw, prevents all that damage. QTV getting taken down extremely low. Ghana Devil is on the side, does have the on the hunt. Prize now joins onto the fight. We'll try to zone as much as possible. Archie as well as Optimus. A great Cyclone coming on to Ghana Devil. Safety taken down extremely low. Will be forced to flash as well as pop that clone to walk away from that one. Oh my goodness, my mouse is going a little bit crazy out of that one. Safety picks up the ball from Oriana, gets shielded, and at the same time a great amount of burst damage coming in for SAJ in itself. So they do manage to pick up that mid inhibitor turret, only losing QTV in that fight, and they did manage to pick up Green Tea. And it's just a 1-for-1 trade, but SAJ does manage to pick up that mid inhibitor turret.
Right, I have to give so much credit to the Saigon Jokers once again. Very calculated movement right there. They disengaged with a very smart manner there. They decided to go in for the turret and then just move out straight away over there. So they sacrificed QTV over there, but they in turn take away the mid lane turret as well as the Dragon. Once again, I have to say their Dragon control has been pretty good in this game, so they will once again pull the goal lead apart in this one. 7.5k difference in the favor of Saigon Jokers at this point in time, but we are approaching the 15-minute mark, and all these little goal differences might not be that important at this point in time. But Saigon Jokers playing this very beautifully in their perspective. So I have to say they must have had a lot of training with this team composition to make it so effective and working for them so well here.
I'd like to point out something, especially before the next team fight starts out. Remember in the early game we were talking about the fact that Junie had picked up the ancient coin and Green Tea started off with the Doran's Blade, but we might see a fight coming out here, so I don't think so. So at this point of time, look at the item differences, quote-unquote item differences coming from the two supports. We had an additional, whoa, we do have Westdog getting caught out of position here. He will be forced to use the explosive cast. QTV is now on the sidelines, but here in the mid lane itself, the shockwave comes out and does nothing at this point of time because Junie knocks Gunner Devil away from that one. Optimus gets zoned out completely. He still is alive. Amazingly, still alive. Gets hit by the last hit of the cleaver, and does seem that SAJ are on the back foot of this one. The flash comes out and Safety manages to get away. QTV was trying to kill Westdoor, but Westdoor was still able to get away from the automated crocodile at this point of time. And look at this complete turnaround here from AHQ. So that one team fight has allowed them to kind of just make a beeline down the mid lane. They do have a cannon wave pushing up, and Garnet Devil on Sivir is just going to wave clear and take down this turret very simply. Right, and look at what Price is doing.
Right, and the only two members remaining on the side of Saigon Jokers is going to be QTV and Safety. They don't have the best amount of wave clears here, and with 30 seconds on the timer here, will we actually see HQ push for victory? I feel like that might not be the case here, but they are putting on a lot of hurt onto QTV, that's for sure. So Westor will pick up the kill onto QTV here. And with 5 members on the side of HQ Esports Club, I feel like this might be the turnaround for them. The second Nexus turret goes down, and everyone's just turning the focus on the Nexus turret now. That will be game for HQ Esports Club. What a turnaround, what a turn of events here tonight for game number 1.
Wow, I really want to see what happened in that final fight coming in for that allowed HQ to pick up that win. And wow, just we saw Westdoor kind of get caught out of position. Immediately they sent QTV. And what happened in that team fight? You didn't have QTV to zone out the rest of the front line of HQ Esports. And the moment Garnet Devil got the ball rolling, popped on the hunt and just continued to chuck blades at the Jokers in itself, that kind of just won them that team fight, I feel, because QTV effectively was zoning out only one member, and Gragas is extremely mobile as well, and he didn't even manage to pick up Westdoor in that fight either.
I'm still a little in shock here.
Okay, wait. Before we go into shock, let's kind of diagnose or at least break down that replay coming in. So we'll move into that last fight coming in, and let's just see what exactly happened. So Westdoor is on the side at this point of time. You see the Talisman of Ascension being popped, and I don't really care about what happens between QTV and Westdoor. Let's take a look at what happens. Optimus gets stunned by the Solar Flare, goes in for the Zenith Blade, and the explosive cast just completely bursts him down. He does pop the Zonias. He's in a very bad position at this point in time, and Garnet Devil is in the back lines. Look at that. The Shockwave does hit, but is not able to completely kill off Garnet Devil. And Safety, Green Tea, Prides as well as Naz are just kind of dueling it out in the lane itself. So they turn their tides onto Optimus. Green Tea as well as Garnet Devil tries to go in. And not much can be said because they are unable to kind of pick up Prides and Naz. Immediately we saw Garnet Devil just completely destroy Archie in that fight. And that kind of just turned the tide around. And
What do you do when you have so many tanks just collapsing onto you?
I don't know, because they were trying to focus onto either Naz or Prides, who were in the front line, and Garnet Devil just stayed at the back for as long as possible. And the moment Saigon Jokers kind of focused fire or kind of tunneled vision onto both Mundo as well as Olaf, we saw Garnet Devil just kind of sneak from the flank. A Zenith Blade comes out and just hits Archie. He manages to cleanse it away using the Mercurial Scimitar. But the catch potential as well as the chase potential coming from Silver just instantly melted Graves there.
You know what I would say this game was? It's a classic example of anything can happen in a League of Legends professional game. And that is going to be game number 1 of this best of 5 series. We will be right back for game number 2 between AHQ Esports Club and Saigon Jokers, so do stay tuned.